What's going on, guys? Today we are going to be rebuilding Arsenal. We're going to be creating the best tactic for them and using their best youth if they can get into the main team. If not, we're going to sign some youngsters for this rebuild. We are going to start off, obviously, from 2024 season, or the start of that season. So we are going to go over and see how we done and who we brought in. Those of you that might have forgotten, I don't know how you would have done, but Arsenal potentially could have won the Premier League last year. They just about fell short. Man City just simply didn't give up to the end. They lost it by 2 points, and of course, you can see that on the screen right now. Now, what I have gone and done is I've gone and already done all of my transfers. I've sold a load of players, brought a load of players in. We're going to cover that first. Then we're going to make the best tactic. We're going to implement the players we've brought in into that tactic. And then we're going to get in and see how good my rebuild skills are by simulating a season. And maybe playing a little cheeky cup final. So the first player I'm going to offload is going to be Smith Rowe. I absolutely love the guy. I just don't think he's really Arsenal quality. And I'm going to let him go to Villarreal for £35 million, which, to be honest, I think is a real good bit of change to bring into the team. Again, a very good player, just not really Arsenal level, and I don't really think he's going to get into the team, to be honest with you, especially with the man I'm going to bring in instead of him. He is going to be going to Atletico Madrid for £39.5 million. That already is a load of money generated from two players departing. If you watch my rebuilds on the channel, you know how much I signed this guy on the free. He would go on the free anyway, so I've sold him, and he's going to be going to Al-Shabaab for £29 million. So again, a real good bit of money to get for a player like Reece Nelson. He is valued at a lot more, but he does go on the free. So I thought we'll get what we can for him. 29 million, I'll take it. And again, a load of hype when he come into the team, but I've never really felt like I've seen the potential which he, got given basically. That is going to be Fabio Vieira. He is going to be going to Stuttgart for £32.5 million. So despite paying a bit of a hefty fee and 30 million, we made £2.5 million profit. So we haven't lost out on anything, which means we can spend it on a better player. Now, purely for in-game performance, Ryan never does well for me, so I'm not going to be buying him from the loan. I'm going to let him go back to Brentford. I'm going to bring in David De Gea, obviously on the free, a keeper who I don't know how has not got a club, because he still is a really good goalkeeper. He is going to be back up to Ramsdale, but we have replaced someone who would potentially cost a lot more to bring in on the permanent and brought in a freebie, so that already is saving us some money. I have loaned in Xavi Simons from PSG with the option to buy him, but with this player, you know what you're getting. He's incredibly versatile, very well-rounded, 21 years of age, and again, very important to say, we can buy him. So it's if he has a great season, we can go and purchase him. If he's abysmal, we haven't lost any money. Incredibly heavily linked with him in real life, that is going to be Caliafori, obviously having a great tournament so far with Italy, and they are linked in real life, so I thought, do you know what? Let's spice the rebuild world up and sign some actual transfer rumours. He's going to set me back a total fee of £40 million, which is heavily taxed. I will say that's an obscene figure, but I thought, do you know what? Make it realistic, bring him to Arsenal. That's what I've done. Overpaid big time for Elise, and I did do it in instalments because they would not let me have him. That is going to be a fee of £75 million, and yes, I know he's basically gone to Bayern, but this is a video game at the end of the day, and people sometimes forget that. So we are going to be bringing him into Arsenal. Honestly, I would have loved to see him stay in the Premier League. Arsenal would have been actually a really good fit for him. Chelsea also, Manchester United maybe, wink wink, but pretty sure Bayern is agreed and that's all going ahead. So unfortunately, not that my say would have anything, he's gone. But an incredible player, still very young. What a signing. Again, a player I potentially have overpaid for, but a player who is really good in FM. I know RDF absolutely loves him. That is going to be Kuna. Now, this guy come in for £50 million. So Wolves have made a little bit of profit, £7 million profit. He's only 25 and adds a little bit of flair into the team and also covers so many positions. And I thought, do you know what? He's on the market. Let's bring him in. And lastly, the main man I was talking about, it is going to be a Pender. I wanted Sesko, I'm not going to hide it. He unfortunately is no longer available, so I went and picked up Leipzig's second main man. That is going to be a Pender for £75 million. Now, what I'm getting with this guy is something Jesus doesn't offer. He is quick in behind. Jesus has got decent finishing. I'm not saying he hasn't, but this guy offers great finishing. He's got really good technique, and he's still very, very young. A different sort of approach to a Gabriel Jesus. I am going to keep Jesus at the club, and I will give them both equal opportunity. But I think I'm going to try and go with a pressing forward vibe in this tactic, so hopefully Jesus can also play that, because I know Openda can. But now, of course, we are going to mould this tactic, show you how I make tactics, see what we're going to do, and I've decided I am going to play a 4-3-3 tiki-taka. I think it suits Arsenal quite well, so we're going to see what we can do with the roles, see what players we have to change, who we're going to start, etc, etc. Now, in goal, Ramsdale and David De Gea are the same sort of ability, but purely because he's, you know, he's the main Arsenal man. I am going to have Ramsdale in. I do not want him as an attack and sweeper keeper though, although I will say he has got the attributes to potentially do that. But I think realistically I'm going to have him as a sweeper keeper simply on support. Now, going over to the right back, I don't really want to play as an inverted wing back at all. And at right back, we've got options. We've got Ben White, we've got Timber, we've got Partey, we've got Tomiyasu. And I think realistically, out of all of those players, I might want to install... I'm going to install a bit of Tomiyasu into the team. I really like him in the game, and I want him simply to be a wing-back who is going to be set to... He's not going to be at his best here compared to what he could be on defend. I want him to be on support. I really like Tomiyasu. He offers a lot to the game. He's reasonably quick, not the quickest of the quickest, but he can do his job. Or actually, in fact, do you know what? Do you know what I'm going to do? Because he's not the quickest of the quickest, he's not incredibly good at crossing, I'm actually going to stick to what it says. I'm going to have him on defend. I'm going to have this wing back on defend, so whoever's on this wing is going to be very, very attacking, because I'm going to have him on that role there. Now, centre-back wise, again, loads of options. I do want 2 ball-playing defenders, so we'll have that into the team right now. We've got Gabriel, Ben White, we've got Saliba, Timber, Caliafori, not Rice, I'm not going to play there. Realistically, we have to get Saliba in, don't we? We need to get him in. He's an incredible player. Again, fantastic. Just look at him, an absolute man mountain. And next to him, we've got the likes of Gabriel, we've got Timber, we've got Caliafori, the new man. I don't think Caliafori deserves to start necessarily, so I'm going to bring in Timber and bring these two as a back-to sort of partnership. Now, left back, we've got options. We've got Caliafori, we've got Tierney, we've got Zinchenko. I am personally going to go with... Oh, it's tough, you know. I'm going to play Caliafori. Can I put him in there? I'm going to put Caliafori in there, and I'm going to have him as a wing-back, and I'm going to have him on support. I'm going to give him some game time, I think. Realistically, if we want to, we can have the likes of Zinchenko. We've got Tierney, who I couldn't sell. We've got options in there, but if we can, I'm going to give him some game time, I think. He doesn't look like incredibly, incredibly good, but... for an FM sort of standard of player, he'll do a job on this team, I think. So, do you know what? Let's give him a whirl. I will say, I potentially might go with a defensive back 4. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with a defensive back line because none of the wing backs are really that quick. So, I'm going to install quite a defensive back line, which means we can go quite attacking when it comes up the field. So, in deep line playmaker, we've got Rice, we've got Partey, we've got Zinchenko, we've got Sambi, we've got Jorginho. We've got options. I think realistically for deep line playmaker, I'm going to put in the likes of, I'm going to put in Thomas Partey. We'll put Partey in there. Again, his passing range is quite very good, 15 passing. He's got very good work rate. He's got decent stamina. He's not the quickest player. Probably suits a deep line playmaker really well, to be fair. Now, I know what I want in this team. I want Declan Rice as a box-to-box, so that can go right in there. Declan Rice is just an absolute dream of a player. Again, really good stamina, incredible work rate. As you can see, fallen off a little bit in terms of the technical ability, but they'll come back over the season. Don't you worry. A world-class player. And then, obviously, in this position, the queue starts to form. Advanced playmaker. Do we want to play an advanced playmaker or a Mazzala? We'll see who we've got first. So, we've got the likes of Zinchenko, we've got Jorginho, Odegaard, Simmons, Kai Havertz. This is now getting interesting. And in fact, for a little bit of me, I forgot about Xavi Simmons. What I might consider doing, how comfortable can Declan Rice play there? He can. This is what I'm going to do then. I'm going to bring Simmons into the box-to-box, and I'm going to bring Odegaard into this. And I believe that is his most comfortable position. On attack, Simmons is very comfortable in the box-to-box as well. This midfield 3 is now looking incredible. Now, on the wingers, I want them cutting in. So, on the left is pretty common sense, I believe. We are obviously going to have the likes of Martinelli. Now, on the right, we have got very good options. Let's just change that as well. We are going to go with an inside forward as well on attack on this side. We are going to have Saka, Elise. Now, we have got to put Saka in there because it's Bukayo Saka, man. We've got to use Saka. He's absolutely incredible. He's got good finishing, which means I'm going to put shoot more often on because I want him to be cutting in, having them shots. I'm not sitting narrow, so I don't know why I clicked that. Shoot more often and roam from position. I'm also going to have that on Martinelli as well because I want exactly the same. So roam and also shoot more often. And I think realistically, it does mean that, you know, Elise, Trossard, Kuna are going to be on the bench. Now, the striker position is up for debate again because we've got Havertz, we've got Trossard, we've got Jesus, we've got Kuna, we've got Openda, and I think realistically, I signed Openda to obviously get right into the team, but Jesus is still here. I couldn't sell him. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and bring Jesus into the team, but I do want to play a press and forward. I've already agreed on that, so I am going to play him as a press and forward, and hopefully that does mean that we do can get some of these players obviously into the team who are going to now be your bench players, which seems mental, but you know, we've got some star players on the bench. We've got De Gea, Ben White, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Tierney, Jorginho, we've got Keywall, we've got Havertz, Trossard, Lokonga, Openda, Kuna, we've got Elise, we've got Partey, we've got Nuno, we've got some fantastic players. I did look through briefly some of their young players, and to be honest, they have got really good youth players, but not really ready to get right into the team. Obviously, Ethan Nwaeri's a very good shout, but just not quite ready for first team in this season. Now, we are going to go over, of course, some of the sort of instructions I want to be doing for this team. Well, the goalkeeper, I want them to keep it quite simple, to be honest with you. So we are going to have shorter passing and ease off tackles selected. The wing backs, again, I want them to be marking quite tight. I don't really need them to be getting further forwards, just be quite annoying to get past. We're going to have them both on mark tight. The ball playing defenders can remain the same. Declan Rice, this midfield three, I want, apart from the deep lying playmaker who I actually want to be a bit more direct in his passing and putting in quite aggressive challenges, I want these sort of players here to actually be quite short passing options. I want Xavi Simons again to be quite heavy-footed, putting in challenges and getting further, actually not getting further forwards because we do have this player next to him. The advanced playmaker, again, very heavily challenged, shorter passing, roam. We want him also getting further forwards, definitely in that scenario. And also, what we're going to do is, on this occasion, we are going to have him run wide with the ball, because basically Saka is going to come inside. This wing-back isn't going to be overlapping, so Odegaard can almost replace that option, as Saka is going to be coming inside and shooting more often, the same as Martinelli. And lastly, we are going to go with the pressing forward, who I simply am going to have on the default, I think, to be fair, so I don't really need much more on him. I was going to have closed down more, but of course that obviously is default because he's a pressing forward. So that's going to be your player roles. Now, mentality wise, I think positive is a sensible approach. We are one of the best teams in the league, so we don't want to be too cautious. We are going to go with shorter. The tempo, I'm going to go with a slightly higher tempo. I'm not going to overlap because you don't really need to. I am going to focus down the left and right though and really utilise the wingers we've got. We've got Saka, we've got Martinelli, we've got Elise, we've got Kuna, we've got so many good players in this team, we may as well use it. I am going to go with fairly wide on this occasion. We are going to go with mixed crosses, with also work ball into the box and pass into the space. In transition, we're not holding our shape. We are going to counter. Actually, we'll leave it blank because I want possession. So we're going to leave it blank with the counter press. We're going to play to anyone across the back line. No real rush to get it moving, so we're going to keep it like that. And we are also, out of possession, going to have a higher defensive line. And we are going to play with the high press line of engagement. And this is going to remain as the default sets it up for us. So much more often, and a little bit of goalkeeper distribution prevention. So overall, this is going to be what I'm going to go into that season with. And I really like making the tactics live for you, because you can see exactly what my thought process is behind everything. The player roles, what I look for in players, etc, etc. The only thing which is a bit annoying is obviously a lot of these players, like for example, Openda, Kuna, Elise, they are first team players for a lot of teams, but this Arsenal team is incredible. Now, what will be interesting is to see what the game thinks. So this would be my starting 11. What does the game think in my system? There is changes. So Rice comes in, Partey goes into DLP, White comes in, Gabriel comes in, Tierney comes in. Okay, so I don't lock players in because I think it's a little bit unfair. I let the game sort of decide who plays where, let players have their opportunity. Of course, we are going to be playing in quite a fair few competitions. We are going to be playing in the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the English Community Shield, and they are predicting a finish of 3rd place. Now, hopefully, we can do better than that. Let's go in to the season and just see how good I am at rebuilding. Am I a flop? Let's find out. I'm going to quickly say it's now the perfect time to leave a like on the video and subscribe. And if you want the rebuild file today, you can come over to the Patreon and get them alongside of 12 other perks, including access to all of my tactics, one-on-one tactical help, Xbox tactics, mobile tactics, and access to monthly giveaways. Last month's was £300, so come on over, getting involved. The link is going to be in the description. But let's go and see how this Arsenal season went. Of course, the first game is going to be the Community Shield, the first competitive fixture, and we are going to play Man City, who got off to a very good start inside of 35 minutes. Luckily for us, we do bounce back with Saliba into Odegaard, into Rice, into Martinelli, on the edge, off the post. The goalkeeper's frozen, and Jesus is going to stick it in the back of the net. Odegaard now puts the ball into the box. Haaland clears it. Gabriel picks up the rebound into Odegaard, back stick, into Martinelli, into Ben White. Both of the goals incredibly scrappy so far, as we are now going to go and get a 3-1 advantage with Thomas Partey into Bukayo Saka, back inside, into Odegaard. Short, quick tiki-taka, completing the game. Nearly. Man City do get a consolation goal. Great ball over the top into De Bruyne. Ramsdale freezes, but we win 3-2. We then get to the FA Cup final against Huddersfield. Yes, Huddersfield, and we take the lead. A bit of an easier final with Thomas Partey absolutely lashing one into the bottom left-hand corner. But I will say Huddersfield got to this cup final for a reason, and despite this being one of the worst goals I have seen to be conceded, they get back into the game in 23 minutes, and they take the lead in 26 minutes on the clock. A ball over the top into Healy, touches it down into the top left-hand corner. But this is where I switch to a bit more of an attacking version, which you can get over on the Patreon. And I decided to say, do you know what? I'm not having this. We go through and stick it into the bottom left-hand corner to tie it back up at 2-2. And the second half was our half. Elise comes on. Nice to see him having an impact into Jesus from Thomas Partey to make it 3-2. We then go into the 54th minute with Thomas Partey again, who was so heavily involved in this team, taking on everyone there into Declan Rice to make it 4-2. 2 more goals to come as we do actually win this by a 6-goal margin, or a 4-goal margin, 6 goals overall, into Elise, who takes on everyone, and that is why you sign someone like him. The talent is unmatched. Ben White again down the right hand side, little cutback I would imagine into Saka, into Rice, who had his way in this final, a 6-2 win. And to the Champions League final where, you know, the one man who done us over, we didn't win, we lost, Harry Kane. Honestly. Also, we come this close to winning the Carabao Cup, but unfortunately, Liverpool are going to be your champions. But what they didn't win is going to be the Premier League. We are going to be your Premier League champions. Very close to Liverpool and Man City. Chelsea, Manchester United are going to remain in the Champions League places. Fulham, Ipswich and Wolves are going to be relegated. Quite an accurate relegation zone, to be fair. No offence to the Ipswich fans, because they are my local team as well. But realistically, we are going right back down. But overall, a very, very strong season. I mean, a very strong season. Premier League winners, FA Cup and Community Shield. We could have won 5 trophies, but we bottled 2 finals, which is very, very annoying, to be honest with you. But still a very, very strong season. Of course, going over to the squad, we can get a better understanding. 27 goals coming in for Jesus, 25 for Martinelli, Saka with 20, 14 for Odegaard, Elise with 14, 10 for Rice, Saliba coming in with 9. Assist-wise, we've got 22, 15, 11, 10 and 10, 8, 8, 7, 7. A load of players here contributing really well with the assists, including Tomiyasu, who obviously did thrive in this team, in this system. And of course, I will say, as I always like to say, you can carry on this save by downloading the tactic and obviously the save file, from the Patreon in the link below. I always set my viewers challenges as well. Now, realistically, I'm looking at this team. I do think it's a really exciting rebuild file you can get your hands on, because I'm going to set you some key core challenges now. I want you, with this team, you can sign players. I want you to win the Champions League, the Premier League, and actually, we nearly done it. So do you know what? I'm going harsh on you today. I want you to win the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup. I want to see the screenshots, as I always love seeing them. I want you to do the quadruple with this team. And of course, you have the big say now. You're the man in power, or the woman in power. Xavi Simons, are you going to buy him or are you going to leave him? Because he's on the market. You can have him. It's your choice. If you have enjoyed today's rebuild, be sure to leave a like. And if you are going to carry on, enjoy your £250 million. I'll be seeing you in the next one.